Good afternoon. I'm at Elmira Elementary School, and I'm here today with Ms. Downing and Ms. Copeland, and the subject matter is Say Yes to Education. And we're going to talk about how it came about, and then what are the things that we're doing to ensure the success. So, Ms. Downing, if you could start. I know that Cleveland, we pay a lot of attention to education. We recognize that education is key to our success. And so we've done the reform plan. This helped us to make significant improvements in graduation, test scores and things like that. We have ways to go, but we've made some improvements. And we've worked with our partners at universities and colleges on how do we provide a continuum from pre-K to graduation to college, and how do we ensure success? And one of the major things that we found to be an impediment for those who could work their way through college on the academic side was being able to afford it, or that those who still had challenges to the academic side, there were impediments to them gaining the kind of knowledge that they needed to gain. And so Say Yes to Education, I guess, is trying to fill both of those voids. So how does it function?
So Say Yes Cleveland is going to be a great program for Cleveland students, and it really is two pillars. One are support services for students and their families from the time a student enters kindergarten until they graduate from high school. And the other pillar is our tuition scholarships after graduation, so that students, every graduate of a CMSD school, can go on to post-secondary education, whether it's a 4-year college or university, or a 2-year college program, or a certificate program that is Pell eligible. And what we're asking is that students live in the district, that they go to all 4 years of high school at a CMSD school, that they graduate and then apply to a post-secondary program and let us know what the tuition costs are, and we will cover them for the next 25 years. But the other part of it is that from a time a child enters kindergarten, that they will have the supports they need to achieve academically and socially in a Cleveland school. And that means that we are going to have staff in every school in the district, staff members called family support specialists, who can connect a student or their family member with a service like tutoring or legal services or mental health counseling, and that these will be available in the schools and in the community and available to all of our children. We're going to ramp up those services over the next 4 years, but then they will be available for the continuity of achievement and for all of our students for the next 25 years.
So this is to help identify what are those barriers to the child achieving academically, and then to use our support systems to help them navigate those barriers or to get rid of them.
Exactly.
And with that, they will have a better outcome in terms of achieving and being able to graduate from high school.
Right, and then with that ability, they'll be able to do well in whatever course they choose for post-secondary education.
And then, Ms. Copeland, and then as we move into the issue then may become financing. And how do we finance that post-secondary education, which many of ours, almost all of our students do qualify for the federal grants for education, but there's always something missing. And $1,000 here, or a couple of thousand, or a few $100s even, could be a great impediment to children not being able to go to post-secondary. I know that you sat on the Say Yes to Education National Board. You're also CEO of the Key Foundation,
Recently retired.
recently retired, that made the first donation to the fund for scholarships. How do you see the financial side of this working?
Well, thank you, first of all, Mayor, for having me. You've put your finger right on the pulse of what this program, what makes it so magical, because it does guarantee that the funding will be there for children to complete. Young people, as you know, oftentimes run short. They can run short of $500, $800, but that's a big impediment if you do not have it, and that's with this endowment. So we were, at KeyBank, we were very pleased to participate with a group of funders in raising an endowment, and we've raised over $90 million to date. Our goal is to raise $125 million within the next 4 years. I would say that from our vantage point at KeyBank, we saw this program in action in Syracuse, New York, in Buffalo, New York, and in a county in North Carolina. So this program, citywide model, is over 12 years old. And we see that it works in communities very similar to ours. So we already have the proof points, and that's why we're so lucky to have now this program in Cleveland. What it has done in those cities and what it will do here in Cleveland, it will create a college-going culture, post-secondary culture in our community among our children. Expectations. We now have children who are in kindergarten or third grade or fifth grade coming into school this week expecting to get ready to go to college or to have hope beyond finishing high school. And so that's what this program does. That's the largest gift, I believe, to the community, and that will create a stronger population going
so
forward.
that people understand, this is last in money.
Yes.
And so could you explain that to us, what last in money means, which really helps to extend the life of the money so that it's not used up quickly,
Exactly.
but it has a longer lifespan?
Well, this program will be well endowed and will last. We've already built a financial model around what we will need to make sure this program lasts for 25 years, as referenced by Diane. When any student who's applying for post-secondary education, they're going to look at what they are eligible to receive. There could be a merit-based scholarship. There could be a grant in place that the student could get. Certainly, Pell-eligible students, have those monies that are also in place for that. So once all of that is put together by the counselors and organizations that help package the students financially for school, then we'll see what the gap is. And the gap could be $5,000. The gap could be $1,000. Whatever the gap is, that's where Say Yes then will step in and provide that gap dollar semester by semester.
And Ms. Downing, you're the director of Say Yes.
Yes.
Education. And I know you said that part of the requirement, one of you said part of the requirement is to attend the 4 years of high school, but those who are seniors now or who are juniors, who are that, but Say Yes to Education wasn't in existence when they got into the 9th grade or 10th grade. How does that work?
Well, if they were in a CMSD high school on January 18th, 2019, the day we announced our Say Yes chapter, and they lived in the district, they are eligible for a Say Yes scholarship. And so the current sophomores, juniors, and seniors are all grandfathered in. With the current 9th grade class, they do have to spend 4 years in a CMSD high school. But I will say, we're very proud of the fact that with this year's graduating class, the class that graduated in May, we are going to send 850 CMSD graduates to post-secondary education with a Say Yes scholarship.
And that's before the program really kicked in on the service delivery side.
Right.
This is, we have those number of young people and their families who have applied and who are eligible. And that is an increase, is my understanding, from last year and the previous years.
Right. There were scholarships available, but this is a very significant increase in the number of students we can send to post-secondary because of this money because of the community's commitment, corporations, foundations, individuals who have donated to this scholarship fund. And again, this fall, we have just started with the opening of school, the support service specialists. Every school building in the first 16 Say Yes schools has someone in the school right now working with families, working with children to connect them with the services they need. So to your point, making them ready, and ready for this school year, but ready ultimately for post-secondary education.
And Ms. Copeland, you talk about the expectations. So if you could tell parents what they should expect when they send their children to a Cleveland public school under the Say Yes education, what would it be?
Well, it's I wore this blue jacket intentionally. I went to Hampton University, and our colors are blue and white. And I did that because of that. When I grew up as a child, the question in our household was not if you're going to college, but where are you going to college? So I would say that that's what parents should expect, that children from a very young age will begin to consider where they want to go to college, because the resources, the support services will be in place for them to achieve that goal.
And I would just like to add that Say Yes scholarships are available for attendance at every public college and university in Ohio.
Whether it's a 4-year bachelorate,
Yes.
it could be associate,
Right.
It could be some post-secondary that's not where you need a certificate or trade. Is that correct?
That's correct. And because we're a Say Yes city, Say Yes National has a university compact with 120 colleges and universities across the country, from the East Coast to the West Coast, all types of institutions. And they also have an affiliation with Southwest Airlines. So if a child and a family want to visit a college that's on the West Coast, they will be happy to pay for the plane tickets.
Good. So anything else you want to add?
This is a game changer for Cleveland and for our children.
It is transformational beyond belief, and we are very happy to be a part of this.
And I want to thank everybody for tuning in and subscribing to our e-newsletter, is what we call it. I forget that every time, but thank you very much for subscribing and tuning in. Hope you learned a lot. Thank you.